Yo, better run like it's the Krewe FC, the round table where the real heads be. Talking NFL, the game we adore. From the touchdown to the legends and so much more. That fucking guy, he's got the stats on lock. Dropping knowledge on the field, watching every block. Back and bleeding green, cheering loud and proud. In the sea of cheese, as he's standing out the crowd. I can't hear with the looks and the smarts. Breaking down the plays, and he does it with heart. Then it's stout, solid like the line. His takes are heavy, his vision's divine. Week by week, we break the game down. From every big play to every new crown. Offense, defense, we cover it all. From the springtime traps to the winner's last call. It's not just a podcast, it's a fan's lifeline. Connecting every moment from the vines to the side.
Good morning, gentlemen. Week 9 is finally upon us. Happy Halloween weekend. As my old coach used to say, the frost is on the pumpkins and football's getting real. How we doing, gentlemen?
Awesome.
You guys bring it. I was so close. You guys were so close to hitting. I think Andy just did a somersault. Did you guys see that? That was amazing. Yeah. Do it again, Andy. That's some skill there. He's been practicing. Awesome.
We're having some technical difficulties. That's okay.
No, that was awesome. That was great.
Just like the Bears.
I was hoping your skirt was going to fall up.
It's a kilt, damn it.
Yeah. So, there was a game, I don't know, last weekend that had a little bit of a controversy. Certain tight end went breaking down the field into the end zone. Well, almost into the end zone with the football anyway, as Antoine Winfield Jr. knocks the ball out of Kyle Pitts' hands just before he enters the goal line. Bucs lose by 5. Again, we are talking about the issues with officiating. How is it the NFL does not have the proper camera angle? How can you sell us that?
Well, let me ask you this. What was the point spread of the game?
I couldn't tell you. But I'm
sure that is a great question. I'll look that up.
I'm sure it has something to do with it. But you can't tell me they don't have that angle. There's pylon cams. They're supposed to have a minimum of 12 cameras at every game for a broadcast. How? I'm not saying the Bucs would win that game if they had those points, or the momentum of the game would have shifted if, a big play on a breakaway for a touchdown. I mean, I don't know. It happened last year, right? The Bucs and what was his name? Riddler? No. What's the terrible quarterback that went to Cincinnati?
Tom Brady. Oh.
Played for the Bearcats. God dang it. It doesn't matter. He played quarterback for the Falcons. It's breaking away. And Antoine Winfield Jr. catches him from high, knocks the ball out. Bucs win that game. I don't understand how you don't have that camera angle. I don't know how that's not available to you. And I don't know how we're, again, talking about officiating, and it's week 9 of the NFL.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's the same thing with last week with the Cowboys game with the touchdown in the end zone with the pick play. I mean, the Colts were in it. The same thing happened in the Colts game. Same exact play. 2 different calls. 2 different calls. Same play. Same thing happened. Guy gets knocked down. One's a touchdown. The other one's a penalty. There's no consistency across the board, it seems like, the past few weeks. So it's not like the Cowboys would have won, but I'm just saying, like, at least have the games so officiating's the same.
Something's got to be done. I swear to you, I don't feel the Bucs win that game if that play was called properly. The defense was atrocious again. They didn't figure out the defense yet. We'll talk about that later on in the show. However, you take the momentum and you just, set it right back where it was instead of swinging it in the opposite direction with that one call. But anyway, there's some actual games going on this week. We have a certain team in the north side or on the NFC North up in Chicago. Andy, who you got today?
Bears.
Yeah, that's the team in Chicago.
I guess that was funny. So
Yeah.
what makes this kind of interesting, you have a whole lot of people that are actually injured for the Bears and not too many for actually the Arizona Cardinals, which actually only have Darius Robinson, who's going to be out. He has a calf issue. You have a couple of questionables. Unfortunately, you have everything from offensive linemen to DBs to defensive linemen, tight ends. I mean, you have everybody that's actually injured for the Bears. Last week game was a heartbreaker, to say the very least, to play as bad as they did, to actually start, to be essentially winning and should have, could have, would have won if, well. And then, of course, you also have, I don't want to talk about that either. Was he, in fact, waving at the fans? Was he, in fact, jeering the fans for the other team? I don't even want to talk about that other team, call them by their name or anything. That was a heck of a play, though.
Let's go to that play real quick since you brought it up. I didn't bring it up. You brought it up. That was a terribly thrown ball. That if the Bears defense does what every defensive back is taught from Pop Warner football, whatever you call it in your area, itty bitty football, whatever, all the way through high school, through college, the first thing you're taught on a Hail Mary pass is to do what? Anybody?
Knock it down.
Knock it down. That's coming from a lineman. You knock that ball down. You don't bat that ball up. You don't go for the pick. You knock that ball to the ground.
No, you wave to the fans. That's the first thing you do.
That's prior. So
you talk to fans and the plays happen, and then you can't get over there in enough time to do your job.
Well, ironically enough, he actually did get back in time to actually bump up the ball high enough to where, unfortunately, the Commanders receiver did in fact catch it. And it was a terrible throw, but it was a good throw in the fact that it was effective and unfortunately won them the game.
Yeah,
so,
but what's great about this? Let's analyze the play itself, right? Hail Mary to the center, just off the center of the field, right? They throw it 4 yards short of the end zone. But a great play design, you bring a wide receiver sweeping around the back of the cluster, the back of the scrum, if you will, and he's there to make the play. That's a great play design. I don't know if that was individual effort or if that's the way the play is designed. Either way, that was outstanding football.
Yeah. Can we talk about the play before, though? Because that's what set that up.
Thank you. I wanted to go there.
And then the head coach decided that didn't matter for some reason. So I don't.
Go ahead.
He was 4 yards short from hitting the end zone. They get, 13 yards? And then what Everflus says, well, that play didn't matter. Well, if he threw it 4 yards short where they were, and you gave up 13 yards, that's 17 yards he throws that ball short. So you're looking at the ball going close to the 20-yard line. So it's not even close to the end zone. So, yeah, that play mattered, dude. Why are you saying that? You're an NFL head coach. Why are you saying that? That's absolutely ridiculous. And not we all like to get fun of Andy and the Bears, but, I mean, at that point, I'm like, that's starting to get like Dallas Cowboys level, people talking. Like, it's getting bad.
That's actually a really good point, as a matter of fact. And, who knows if Everflus is going to be there, at the end of the year. I think he was actually given that extra year just because of the fact that you have a lot of tools that were coming into the actual, you had different wide receivers, tight ends, you had all kinds of people that were coming in, running backs, the whole thing. I think even Herbert actually requested for a trade. And now everybody's trying to, jumping ship because of that particular offense. Now, is it really the head coach's fault or is it the offensive coordinator's fault, defensive coordinator's fault? Really, if you want to go with the buck stops here kind of a thing, it's Everflus.
Yeah. So Andy, you and I were texting this week because I told you, I said I wanted to listen to the coach's interview on ESPN 1000 in Chicago, and they eviscerated him. I mean, points taken exactly what Stout just said on the play before. How can you sit there and say that play didn't matter? But then let's actually go to the Hail Mary play itself. They rushed only 3 guys. Why didn't you rush 5? The kid, first of all, is playing with bad ribs. That's going to affect the distance of his throw. So if you're already rushing him and giving him no clear space, I don't know. I just think it was just horrible coaching all around. And it's just, obviously Tyreek Stevenson being a bonehead, it's just, it just, you just saw a complete dysfunction out there in an important time of the game.
And just so I historically, at least in my particular, you've always only rushed 3 guys, sometimes even 2 or 1, because everybody's back, because you're going to have the opportunity to be able to actually bat the ball down, not just do like a pass tip drill, which is and it was perfect. I don't think he would have been able to do it better if Stevenson actually would have actually grabbed the ball, walked over, and handed it to the receiver.
Right.
It was almost that perfect.
Let's not ignore the fact that Jaden Daniels had roughly 6 seconds to throw that pass. He scrambled both sidelines, rolled deep. You can't tell me there was not a hold.
Oh, there was 3 different holding. There
was
3 different holding calls.
It was awful. And I'm not a Bears fan. I actually enjoy watching the Bears lose, because that means I get to listen to the crying on ESPN Radio 1000. But that pass play, there was like 3 or 4 holds on offense. There was a couple holds on defense. There was pass interference while the ball was in the air. There was bumping 7 yards down the field. There was a ton of penalties that could have been called.
Sure, it was like watching the chefs.
My question here is that a situation where you just put your hands in fold your arms and let the play go? You're a ref and you're like, you know what? Let the players play, let the players win. Is that the situation there? Because if that is, I hate that. You're going to call it in the first quarter, at the start of the game. You've got to call it in the fourth quarter, the very last second of the game. A flag is a flag is a flag. A penalty is a penalty, regardless of situation.
Sure, but you're also looking, if you're looking at something that's going to be as egregious as that, I mean, fine. But you're also thinking about like this. You have literally seconds to go. This is going to be really to determine the game either way. So you're going to either let them play and kind of sort of how it works out is how it works out, or you're going to actually, stop the play, move it back, whatever the case is, and actually just redo it unless you do the 10-second runoff. I get that. I think in that particular case, as bad as some of those holds and some of I get it. I definitely probably would have actually let that play out also, because it was going to win the game either way.
Right.
So I get what you're saying, sure, but it was just kind of one of those things where I like I said, I probably would have let it play, but
I don't see lineman hold at all, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes. Anyway,
now
that go ahead. Andy.
Just so we finish up, I hopefully got the Bears going into Arizona, even though they're depleted. Hopefully they're probably going to end up winning by less than a field goal, or less than a touchdown, more than a field goal. Like 3.85 points are going to win by.
There you go. Hey, we got a question for you from the actual audience here, Andy. What are your thoughts on the Bears coaching staff at this point in the season?
So if you're looking at like an A through F type of a thing, and it would also depend on position. So for example, head coach wise, I would probably give him like maybe a G minus, possibly even like an H plus. That's how bad it is. Very simply, let's talk alma maters real quick. UCF, of course, they ended up winning big last week for one good reason. The coach got out of the way. He let the offensive coordinate. He let the defensive coordinate. And I think that's actually probably what Eberflus probably should do at some point, is to be hands off. And I think if he puts his 2 cents in, if he puts his spoon in that soup, that actually is going to mess everything up. Because if you have a certain chemistry, your quarterback has chemistry with your offensive coordinator, they know how that quarterback can play better. So your offensive coordinator, conceivably, I would probably give them probably a C. Defensive coordinator, 2 games ago, when they were leading the league in takeaways and a few other things, I would probably give them like a B plus. Right now, you're probably looking at a B minus, C plus. So, average, and again, special teams, you'd probably give them, of course, B, because they've been consistent. But your head coach, of course, Your head coach should actually be sitting in a corner somewhere by himself.
Here's the thing, Andy, is that at the beginning of the season, Eberflus was asked who was calling the plays on defense. It's Eberflus. That's more damning to him now, even more, just based upon how much of a cluster it was on that last drive from Washington.
Sure. No, absolutely. So take Andy Reid, for example. Does he actually necessarily, call all of his offense and defense? It might be one of those things where he hears over the headset, "Hey, we want to call this particular play on defense," and he might say, "You know what? Throw in a extra spin, an extra twist, whatever the case might be." He might have his 2 cents, but for the most part, he's hands off. Unlike, take like Jerry Jones, for example. I'm sure he probably calls down every other play. I want to see this play. I want to see that play. If you're there to do a job, let them do their job. You're there to facilitate. You're there to bring these people together, to get them to actually act as a unit. And so, with that being said, I think Eberflus, if anything, is probably doing more of a disservice than anything. Who is the what was it? The offensive coordinator, or who was it from Detroit? That young guy who was like a finalist for the Bears head coaching.
Ben Johnson.
Yes, thank you. And I think he probably. One of the other things of the Bears, and we were talking about this briefly last week, is you have some of these hotshot new coaches that are coming in with different ways of thinking, and they're actually having some success. Everything from the guy in Green Bay, even guy out in Miami, those type of guys. I think it's about time that the Bears bring in one of those hotshot, young coaches that's going to be able to actually take things to the next level. It's simply because it's a 21st century. You can't do things late 20th century, ways. If you're in the 21st century and everything's running, gun, and passing and jumping, and everybody's faster, stronger, and all this other stuff, you need somebody to be able to actually do things a little different.
Yeah.
He'd be a perfect match.
I think I, as a Bucs fan, can't agree with that more. But
I concur.
I just hope that he doesn't end up in Dallas, for example. When if McCarthy ends up, losing his job, I just hope he doesn't end up in Dallas, because the Bears are going to be like the same thing with the Mahomes thing. We coulda, shoulda, woulda, but we didn't. So there's stuff. That's just how it is.
Copy.
But
so let's get back to the game at hand. How did the Bears win today, Andy?
Very ugly. They'll hopefully win, like I said, by 3.65 or 85 points. But they will probably it'll probably end up being ugly. If by chance you actually have a Cardinals victory, which is more than slightly possible, due to all the injuries, again, you have several people out for the Bears. I could definitely see that, but I'm hoping the Bears are going to end up pulling it out, because we all know they are who we thought they were.
That's kind of funny.
We got that's good tie-in too, since Anyway, Brian, you got a game this week.
Yeah, we got a big game this week.
Pretty noteworthy game, yeah.
Oh yeah, this could be one of those possible division-changing games here, and like we were talking about before, the NFC North's going to be a meat grinder when these teams play each other. And now you've got Detroit coming to Lambeau in unkind conditions. It's going to be rainy with some wind, cool. And here's the thing. Jared Goff is horrible outdoors. The Lions have not played outdoors. The records show the Lions do not do well or fare well when they play outdoors. This is one of my locks for a bet this week. The Packers are a 3.5-point underdog at home. And you know where my money's going. I mean,
my guess is to the garbage.
Whatever. But no, but in all seriousness, we talked about quarterbacks playing when they're hurt. Obviously, Jordan Love's got the groin injury. Obviously, the field conditions are going to be unfavorable, and you start questioning: do you really play him? Well, this is a big division game, and it looks like he's set to play. So, really protecting him today is going to be very, very key. I don't think you're going to see a lot of passing. I think this is going to be an exclusive running game, and both teams have great running games going on right now. I just think it's going to end up being a slap fest. It's going to be low scoring. It's going to be one of those ground and pound, see what the defense does, and then maybe, just maybe, Jordan Love throws a nice little touchdown pass. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I want to see. Detroit's got a lot to prove today. If they can't go outdoors and win a game, and this affects them in the division, especially for playoff seeding, this is as important as it gets. So
well, let me ask you this now. So, and I will, full disclosure, I of course took the Lions in this one, even though it's at home in Green Bay. But with the return to the black and blue division here, do you really? I mean, honestly, you really see a black and blue kind of a slugfest here, where I think Detroit has a little bit more in regards to defense, even regards to a little bit more on the offense. So, do you see how Green Bay could conceivably be able to, go toe-to-toe with that type of mentality? Because they are really bruising. Detroit, they're actually kind of a bruising team now. Do you see Green Bay being able to?
Well, here's the thing. Green Bay gets the bye next week. So you go all out this week because your rest is coming. This is where you lay it all out on the field. And then you get 2 weeks to prepare for, that one team that's a little bit south and on a lake and stinks really bad and talks about 1985 too much.
Apparently the Packers.
Yeah, but I don't know. This is yes, this is a test for Green Bay to face a bruising team, absolutely. But this is also a test for the Detroit Lions to prove to everybody else we can play in any environment, anywhere, and we're going to beat your ass. That's Dan Campbell's motto, right? Well, prove it, because you haven't won out of a dome stadium yet.
So this is a prove it game for playoffs, right? I tell you guys all the time I say this, you have to be able to run the ball come playoffs. You have to be able to enforce your will upon the opponent, and you have to slow down that pass rush by making them heavy hands on the offensive line. If you get the hands into the defensive linemen and force your will upon them, you win this game. If the Green Bay Packers can push the Detroit Lions defensive line around, they win. And it goes the same way, the opposite direction. Detroit wins this game the same way. You've got to feed up the interior of that defensive line. You've got to be able to maintain possession of the ball, control the clock, and control the tempo of the game. If Detroit can come out and start slinging the rock and play fast-paced Detroit Lion football, I don't think Green Bay can exchange punch for punch with them. But if Green Bay can keep it slow tempo, grind out the clock, control field position, and win the turnover battle, they win this game.
Dude, that's actually a good point, though, because if you're looking to play relatively fast, even though Detroit doesn't have the pass rush that they did a few weeks ago, if you actually hurry Jordan Love, you're going to have the opportunity to maybe kind of sort of tweak up a few of his injuries and maybe slow him down to the point where he's not going to be able to lead off on a pass or anything. And you're going to have to pull him out of the game.
Yeah.
The only thing that I can say is Malik Willis has looked good when he's gone in. And that's all I'm going to say. And he's actually a more mobile quarterback than Jordan Love.
I think you're looking at a Washington Commanders type situation here with the Green Bay Packers. You've got a quarterback that's mobile, has a great arm, and can pretty much make every throw. Your backup quarterback is mobile and can make most throws. So you're not going to throw out a lot of pages out of the playbook. If your team can keep the same playbook in place, there's no change. You just have to adjust, really. You know what I'm saying? You're not pulling plays out. You're just playing the same game plan you had before. That's why Mariota works in Washington, and that's why Willis works in Green Bay.
So I got a question for Brian. So do you think it's going to be a lot of running in Green Bay, or you think they're going to try to get the ball to Watson?
Well, that's a great question. It's, depending on, you're talking about a team that could be to the elements, and they've already played a rain game this year against the Cardinals, and they won. Now, I didn't look up the stats on that just to see who did what. Honestly, it's going to be wet, but also windy, and this can make things very interesting in the passing aspect. I think today is going to be more of a more running, but I really think this is where you're going to start seeing the tight ends being used a lot. Get a lot of more shorter passes. Maybe they take the chance on a longer pass, but obviously with that being said, if unless the traction's good enough for Watson to get open, I don't see any of the big plays like we're used to seeing, to where Watson runs downfield and blows away by his defender and is open. I just don't see it today.
Okay, so I should have asked that a different way. So should I sit Watson in fantasy or should I play him?
You got to know when Mike's asking a question, he's trying to set his lineup.
In my personal opinion, I wouldn't start him.
So, well,
that's too bad. I've already set my lineup.
So, other than that, the only other game that is of note is, of course, the Vikings hosting the Colts. I think the Vikings are probably going to end up winning. Okay, next.
Hang on. I got to go. You guys give me a break for a minute. I'm already exhausted.
Very good. Well played. I don't know. I mean, Flacco is a formidable quarterback in the NFL. He's proven he can do it for years. I think he's on, year 36 of his NFL career? That type of longevity.
We already said next. Move on.
He could spark the Colts to now. Let's go. Mike. You're up, Mike. What you got?
All right. Well, we'll start off with the Eagles and the Jaguars game, and we'll work our way down from there. Oh boy. Just looking at for the Eagles, we'll do their injury report. Gogurt, their tight end's out again, and now Slay's out. This is the second week in a row. So I think that might hurt the Eagles a little bit, but they're also playing Jacksonville. So, and Jacksonville's got two wide receivers hurt, questionable. I mean, their starting run backs questionable, and their backup running backs questionable. So I don't know what they're going to do down there. I mean, I mean, as much as the Eagles have been, they have a winning record, but they've struggled a lot this year, I think, with a lot of games. So this is going to be an interesting game to see if they come out and just put their foot down and just stomp on the Jaguars, or if it's going to be a fight, like they're just going to let them stay in it. Because that's what it seems like this year with them, is that they're letting teams stay in when they should be, putting them away pretty quickly. So, but there's not much to this game because it's the Eagles and Jaguars. So,
go ahead, Brian.
I was just going to say, did Philadelphia send a message last week with what they did?
No.
I don't know. I think the division's theirs.
They looked pretty damn good last week.
Yeah.
They did. But, that's what I've been saying. Like, they've had a few games where they've done it, but they don't look like the same old team like they were last year compared to last year. And I know it changes, but it's – I know their head coaches send it, but, they're 5-2, but they're letting teams stay in it. I guess they're wanting to see if they could stay in games that they could fight and win, I guess. I
think it comes down to playing to your competition. If you play your brand of football and just exclusively play your brand of football, regardless who you play, that's the team that's going to be formidable in the playoffs. Right now, I think the Eagles are playing to their competition. They're letting teams that shouldn't be in games. Then they're blowing teams out that they should be close games with. They're playing to the level of competition.
Well, and I've said this too before to you guys, especially you, Mike. They lost a big piece to their offense last year that called everything. And this was going to be a learning experience for Jalen because he had the help from someone nonstop. And now he's like learning on the fly, which, he's got enough years under his belt. So, but he's still going to have his struggles with, everything. So And, we knew that going in the beginning of the season when I kind of talked about in the beginning is how much they're going to struggle without Kelsey not being there and the line adjustments and everything else. And I think that's part of the issue during the games. But
well, that could have been the issue early on in the games, but now you're seeing them string things together here. I think you're finally seeing that come to fruition after, dealing with the loss of like Kelsey, someone that led your offensive line, that led your, play sets and everything from your offensive line standpoint. I don't see anyone taking it away from Philly.
So just an observation, for example, like how Brian's like a closeted Bears fan. I think you're actually a closeted Eagles fan. You even have the same beard as that guy. You got the green jersey, with the little thongs and everything. All I hear in the background is like the Wild Bill song from Silence of the Lambs.
But yeah, the Eagles should win this game quite handily.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
God, yeah.
Yeah, there shouldn't be an issue, especially with Jacksonville, their injury report. I mean, it's when you're starting running back and starting receivers and your backups are kind of questionable game time decisions. That's kind of going to be a big issue for you. So,
hey, dude, thinks that now Jacksonville's going to put up 30.
So
could happen.
Yeah, it could. Now, so we'll move on to the
Bill Belichick to the Jags. I don't see it happening.
No,
I don't see. He's living too much of a life outside of football. I don't see him coming back. So next up, we got Washington and New York. So I'm gonna start this off. I don't know what New York's gonna do because the only thing that helps them win games is their special teams, and they're legit. Or like had to find a punter and a kicker. Like their injury report is Gano's out. Their starting punter's out. Their backup punter's out. Daniel Jones gets helped out with special teams and their defense when they need it. So unless they find somebody that that can help them out, I don't see it. Rookie of the Year, Daniels, yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Well, Washington's coming in pretty healthy.
Yeah, they got the only injury that they do have is Lucas is out. They're starting offensive lineman, and then their running back Robinson's going to be a game time decision. So,
yeah, that offense, honest to God, is fueled by Jaden Daniels. Being as young as he is, and as inexperienced as he is in the NFL, he's taken leadership of that team, and that team has taken his identity. They had nothing to lose, and all they're doing is winning.
Yeah, and he was the most. I mean, I think everybody talked about it, even we did. He was the most pro-ready quarterback to come out of the draft. I think that was like the biggest thing for him was he was the most pro-ready to come in the draft. So I think that kind of gave him an upper hand of the way he's taken off. So
yeah, and not to beat a dead horse, but the Bears could have had him. Kind of like the Patrick Mahomes Mitch Trubisky deal, right?
I mean, but the thing is too is he that good if he goes to the Bears and have the same? You know what I'm saying? Like we could have this conversation all day long, but I think they ended up where they were supposed to, and does Caleb Webb has the same do the same job in Washington, and does Jane Daniels do the same job in Bears? I don't think so. So
no, it's if you wouldn't have been sick last week, you'd have caught the whole point of the beating the dead horse. And
yeah, I got it.
Yeah, I am so mad I didn't get that made yet.
So, but yeah, I see Washington in this, and I really see the division coming down to Philly and Washington, and to the end of the season, and seeing who actually takes that division. And I'm going to say whoever has. I guess I have to look it up, but whoever has the last game of the year, if it's at home or whatever, that might be who will take the division. So
well, who's going to take the division is going to come down a lot to this game next you have in your little division down there.
No,
I think so. I think if if Dallas can get right with this many injuries going into Atlanta, I think it can change the course of their season.
No, because there's something we need to do down in Dallas. So.
Uh-oh. Are you going there?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh no! We suck again!
Yes, we need to burn it down. Burn it down.
But seriously, if Dallas can win this game, they could change the momentum of their season.
Send that to me, Andy.
You're going into Atlanta against the hot Atlanta Falcon team, coming off a big win against Tampa Bay, in which they basically got a stranglehold on the NFC South. If you can beat a team like that has that much momentum, it can carry you further into the season.
Okay. If you say so. Dude,
how is it they're always in the playoffs?
They're not going to be this year. I don't care what anybody says. It's not.
I was asking for Andy so he could take notes on how to make the playoffs. Andy, are you writing this down? No, seriously. I mean, Dallas is.
There's a couple of things I'd like to be able to say to you. Decorum.
It's not going to happen. Look, as much as I try to wait till week 6 to even say anything about what's going to happen, about week 3, I looked and I was like, "No, we're dead." Like we're back to the owner making all these stupid comments, trying to get reporters fired because he's bringing up. Then you got Trayvon Diggs, going off on a reporter. Look, Mike McCarthy has no control over this team whatsoever. None. He hasn't. This team's doing whatever it wants, and they do exactly. The players have an issue, they go straight to the owner. I mean, it's been that way since the 90s. I mean, after Jimmy Johnson left, it's been the same way. I mean, and it doesn't change. He's not going to change, and like I said over and over again, until he's gone, all he cares about is selling jerseys and making money. He don't care. It's a business for him. He don't care about winning football games. He don't care about winning the Super Bowl. He cares about being the number 1 team in selling jerseys.
Well, let me ask you this. Now that we're not talking about merchandising, if this is a big if, Dallas wins this game, and they go on a run and they make the playoffs, will you at least admit that they have a good offensive game plan? Their defense has fallen off. That's the issue. It's not just the ownership. Your defense has fallen off.
Mm-hmm. Because we let somebody go where is he at now? Oh, Washington.
I wasn't even going to bring that up. I'm just saying your defense.
No, I'm bringing it up because, and it is. And, injuries and stuff take place. And we also paid a quarterback $60 million to throw, on average, 2 interceptions a game. But they didn't bring anybody in. It starts from the top. And I'm not, as much as I don't like McCarthy, me and Brian have had this conversation multiple times about how I don't like it. It starts at the top. Mr. I'm going all in and doesn't do anything. Tells us he doesn't have money to bring Derrick Henry in for a run game. We don't have a run game. So they're basically making Dak pass all game long. It's nonstop.
You just picked up Dalvin Cook. Oh, it's not 2020. My bad.
Maybe like 6 years ago would have been awesome, but I mean, we keep. That's what my point is, dude. Like, he goes all in, and then look. I don't know. I know what's going on down there. It's the same thing every year. If they do make the playoffs, then we'll get knocked out of the first round, like always. Until he's gone, until the owner is gone, the things aren't going to change down in Dallas. And I hate that I have to pick them every week for pick 6 because I really pick against them every time. I'll never get blackjack ever again. I got it. I finally got it when they were on the bye. If that helps.
Go ahead, Andy.
Well, I was going to say, let me ask you this: if you want the owner gone so bad, what do you do with the GM?
Yeah, that's the point. That's my point. Like, yeah, we get all new stuff, but again, to me, it's all about selling, making the most money as possible. It's not about winning football games. It's not about winning a Super Bowl. I guess he's like I always joked. He's Mr. Burns. He's trying to collect as much money before he dies for some reason. I don't know. And maybe he's got a Smithers somewhere that he's going to give it to when he dies. I don't know. You
mean a personal assistant?
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll go back a couple years for that one. But no, I mean, in all honesty, I mean, look, Parsons is out again, so that takes away. You got Blaine's out again. Trevon Diggs is questionable now, and then our one starting linebacker Kendrick, he's questionable game time decision. I mean, Elena's not really that. I mean, they're hurt, but nothing.
No, they've
to
got
where it's.
They have 2 players out in Atlanta.
Yeah,
one is something I can't pronounce. It's like a horror.
Yeah,
he's their defensive tackle with an ankle injury, and he has a good impact on the run game. But the Dallas offense is built for this type of game. It's indoors, and they can actually throw the ball. You can go toe for toe with any offense in the league. You just need 1 or 2 plays defensively. That's it.
Yeah, I don't see it happen.
What's your score prediction, Mike?
Atlanta 28, Dallas 14. How about we go with that? Dallas and Jack throws 3 interceptions because that's all we do all game long.
Wow.
So,
I'm
done, dude. I'm legit done. I told you guys, like, I'm not joking. This guy, when I'm done with this crap, dude. I'm done with the owner. I'm done with it all. As much as I love the players, like, I'll support the players as much as possible, but I'm done with the owner and all this crap. I'm done with McCarthy and his stuff. I mean, we're right back into the place when we had the clapper. I mean, that is now on TV. And, how he got a job analyzing anything, and I don't know. I've never seen him clap on there, so I don't know how they got him to stop doing it, but I wish he'd have done that at Dallas.
Wow. I don't even know where to go from here. Stop. You did it again. Yeah.
I try every week. I mean, we played the clip beforehand. We gave people notice. We all gave you notice. Brian did a good job, and it's bad, dude. We'll be lucky to fit. I'll be surprised if we finish 500 this year. So
I think it's Philly's division to win, but if this is a big if Dallas can win this game and get some momentum going forward, they could be a team to contend with as they get healthy as the season goes on.
Okay. I'm glad you got more faith in them. What I do. I'll try to grab a hold of some of that.
Let's. So we're going to my division now.
Yeah, we go to the South since we covered one of them. Sorry we couldn't help you out and help the Bucs out a little bit, but I don't see it happen.
Yeah, I don't see it happening either. But I gotta play devil's advocate here and just give you the other side of it. Anyway, in the South, we have the Saints versus the Panthers. Saints are favored by 7 in Carolina, but if you look at the New Orleans Saints injury report, you really don't know who's going to be playing. Lattimore out, Miller out, Mears out, Kool-Aid McKinstry out. Jamal Williams is doubtful. And then you look over at the Panther side, and it's, again, the same thing. They've got so many injuries. Saints got Carr back. They got Hill back. AK-41 should run crazy on this team. Saints by 7, I think, is a low estimate here. But, it's an interdivision game. It's a home dog. Yeah, Saints going to win this game. I don't see how Carolina wins this game, especially with the inexperience at coaching and how poorly their offense is playing. When your best receiver is out, your top tight end is out, your starting offensive tackle is out, I don't see how you pull that out, especially with the inexperience you have in Carolina. Then we got a Monday night game. We have the Kansas City Chiefs hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Buccaneers, again, are a M.A.S.H unit coming into this one. You're already down Evans and Godwin. Jalen McMillan shows up on the injury report with a hamstring injury. Levante David didn't practice the last two practices at full participation. He's limited on Saturday. Bucky Irving is limited on Saturday. Shepard is limited on Saturday. Tyke Smith has finally cleared concussion protocol. And Antoine Winfield Jr. is questionable for the game. Chiefs are coming in fairly healthy. Favored by 8.5. How do the Bucs win this game? I said it last week. I'll say it again. You got to run the damn ball. It's that simple. You run the ball. You control the clock. You can win this game. You were up on Atlanta. Running the ball. Scored quite convincingly. Granted, you fumbled the first drive of the game, but came back, tied it up 14-14. Running the ball. Second half, what happened to the run? Where did the run go? At that point, it's still a tie game. It's still a close game, and you completely abandon the run and force Baker Mayfield to throw to receivers that have no names. That's not a winning formula. Baker, when he feels he has to win, forces the ball, turns the ball over. Atlanta wins that game because they win the defensive battle of that game. They win the turnover battle. Bucs can't do that against the Chiefs. Bucs got to play a perfect game to win this one, and I'm not sure I see it happening. Then they get to go ahead and look forward to playing a healthy San Francisco 49ers team coming off the bye. It's going to be a rough couple of weeks here for the Tampa Bay fans. I don't know. I'm not seeing the silver lining here. Someone talk me off the ledge.
Okay. Hey, let me ask you. Here, I got a couple of questions for you. So you said Bucky Irving's injured, right?
Yeah, Bucky Irving will play.
Okay, so he's going to play. So they're going to get that check. So Baker Mayfield and Patrick Mahomes, who would you take in that game?
Ooh, Baker and Mahomes. If I have Baker full receiving or his full complement of receivers and a tight end like Cade Otton, playing the way he's playing, I take Tampa Bay. I take Baker Mayfield. However, going into this game, you're down 2 starting wide receivers. You're down possibly your rookie receiver in Jalen McMillan. You're going to lean on Sterling Shepard, who's questionable. I mean, who steps up for Tampa Bay is the question going into this game. Who's going to be the answer in the receiving corps? Because you're going to see him lean on Cade Otton. They've been leaning on him for a couple of weeks now. You need a big play here. You need someone like Trey Palmer. You need someone like Rashad White catching something out of the backfield. Bucky Irving, you need a big play. That's what they're missing right now.
And being on the ledge all the time with where I'm at, look, man, just take a step back. You guys are showing that you could do stuff. You don't have $60 million quarterback throwing average of 2 interceptions a game.
But that's what's great.
You have a rough schedule. That's all you can do is say, look, it's going to be a rough schedule. It's just going to be a rough 2 weeks. It's going to be a rough 2 weeks, and then you got get everybody healthy and get back to where you guys were at, and then you go back and trying to win the division. But
we need help from. Go ahead.
But you got to look on the other hand. Kansas City's not blowing people out, and they're winning tough games. Like they're keeping the same thing with the Eagles doing. Like you think they should be blowing teams out, and they're not.
Why is Kansas City winning?
Yeah, because they run the ball.
Oh, here we go.
It depends if you
are you going there.
It depends who you have. You have to search somebody that ain't on the show no more. It's because of the refs. I mean, and then you got the other one. It's the refs.
The Chiefs are winning playing defensive complementary football.
Yeah,
you're not turning the ball over. You're taking the ball away. That's how you win in this league. The
I
Bucs
still
are
think it's a
scoring
good match.
points.
I mean, are they the Bucs at home this week, or are they away?
They're in Kansas City.
Oh boy. Okay, never mind. I was trying to give you some hope, but
But I mean, seriously, the Bucs are what, second or third in the league in scoring, but your defense is abysmal. Again, I went on the rant last week. I'm not going to do it again, but that defense is abysmal. It's horrific. How can you not cover a tight end? How are you going into week 9 and you can't cover a tight end?
I don't know. I missed it. Can you go on it? Because I like to have somebody else go on a rant with me the same week.
I mean,
you know what? This is what it calls for.
Get ready to bore yourself with Mike Sidoris in another episode of What the Buck is Up.
What the Buck?
You got a defense that isn't covering tight ends, and now you're going against one of the best tight ends in the league. If you're Kansas City, how do you beat the Bucs? You throw the ball up the seam. You pick apart the middle of that defense. You don't have to run the ball against the Bucs.
But yeah, the best tight end in the league just scored his first touchdown last week, I think. I mean,
so he's healthy.
There's hope. I'm just saying, there's hope. I mean, I'm trying to give you.
Although there may be, I don't want to say a ray of hope. There might be a spark. It might be whatever the case is. But the rumor has it Taylor Swift's not going to be at that game.
Shut up.
She's still in Indy, unfortunately.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the one thing in 10 minutes, and now all of a sudden I'm battling. I got your battling right here.
If someone can come up with a way for the Bucs to win this game other than running the ball, I'd like to shake their hand. That's the way you win this game. We had a question earlier how you would rate your coaches, your coaching staff. What grades would you give them? In Tampa Bay, honest to God, Todd Bowles is maybe garnering a C- D+ at best. But you got your offensive coordinator who took one of the worst running attacks in the league and put him up in the top half of in the top third of the league. He's given them the number one passing scoring offense. Most TDs by a quarterback. You have efficiency. You're running the ball well. So now we're in the same situation we were in years ago with Lovey and Dirk Cutter, and that's not what I want to see, but that's where we're at. Brian, my question for you is, what grade would you give your coaching staff?
LaFleur, I'm still going with like at least a A- B+. I mean, he's taken a team finding ways to win. Defensive coordinator, I'm still not sold on. I'm going to give him about a C- because they still don't seem to like to do a lot of run prevent defense, where I want to see more. I mean that's just overall. I think the coaching staff is probably a good B right now, just overall.
Right on. Stout.
They're really going to ask me that question.
No general manager, no owner in this question or part of the equation. Coaching staff overall.
Overall?
Yeah.
D or F.
How about your head coach?
F. Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, when I thought they brought Zimmer in, I thought, oh, okay. Well, it's not Dan Quinn, and but at least he'll be able to show some. It's just he's not a head coach like you concentrate on the defense. And boy, did I miss on that one.
So, how about your offensive coordinator?
Which is our head coach. He's an
I know. I'm just giving you shit.
Well, now let me ask you this though. I mean, you're granted, you have your GM and your president, manager, owner, whatever the heck it is. So, if you actually take him out of that equation, would you give McCarthy a better grade? Because
No.
you're going to have that really, you're going to have that influence on his end to the head coach, and you still wouldn't give.
No. Well, me and Brian had this conversation before, right? it's a whole back to the Green Bay thing. I mean, it almost like he can't stand up for himself. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, he fits perfectly in Dallas. But I don't think he changes. I mean, if the owner's gone, this is the same thing, man. So, doing too much. He's calling plays and trying to be a head coach. I think it's too much. I said it last year.
Copy that. Brian,
Yo.
you got some bets for us?
Yeah.
Give us the go-ahead, sir.
All right. Take the over 46.5 in the Colts versus Vikings game. You want to take the Packers plus 3.5 versus the Lions. Take the over 45.5 in the Jaguars-Eagles game. Take the Commanders minus 3.5 against the Giants. Take the Browns plus 2 against the Chargers. And my little daily double today, you want to do Saints money line for the victory and also take the -7.
Very good. I have a question for you before we go into pick 6.
Yo.
Do you take the money line with the Packers? Do
No.
you take it? Not telling you to bet everybody. I'm just saying, would you take it?
Would I take it? That's tough. I'd probably sprinkle a little bit on it.
Copy that. Are you guys ready for pick 6?
Yay!
Again, that's longer than the intro. It really is. But so stop. 2 weeks in a row, man. Congratulations.
Did I get blackjack? Oh wait, I can't.
You didn't get blackjack. Dallas played.
Okay.
So we're gonna since you got it last week and we were able to go first last week, we're gonna let Brian go first because he was tied too.
Okay.
All right. My pick 6. Number 6. My number 6 is the Washington Commanders. My number 5 is the Philadelphia Eagles. My 4 is the Cincinnati Bengals. My 3 is the Baltimore Ravens. My 2, sorry, Mike, Kansas City. My 1 is Green Bay.
Copy that. Mike, what do you got?
All right. Number 6, I got Washington. 5, I got the Eagles. 4, I took the Ravens. 3, I took the Vikings. 2, I took the Lions. And
you bastard.
We're the blue today.
Mike told me I can't copy your homework no more, so I got to do it on my own. So I had to go the opposite. And 1, of course, it's a team that'll keep me from getting blackjack all year. Except when they were on the bye. I got blackjack. Interesting how that happens.
Andy, you're up.
We're going to go with the refs as our lock pick for several reasons. Then we got the Vikings. I'm going to say the Vikings are going to pull it out. The Commanders, the Lions are actually going to beat up on we'll see how that ends up going, but I think the Lions are going to end up beating the Packers, the Cincinnati, and of course, the Bears.
So
Just simply due to all their injuries, all the Bears injuries.
Andy's been pretty solid lately with
Don't be gross.
his Green Bay his Green Bay picks. Now he's got you falling. So, I mean, is there a trend here? Does Andy know something you don't? Probably, but we're not going to get into it. So, I have Washington at 6, Buffalo at 5, Cincinnati at 4, Baltimore at 3, Philly at 2, Kansas City at 1, and Tampa Bay at 0.5. I got the Bucs at 1. It's going to be a rough one, Jenna. Anyway, we're going to try to do this.
You should actually have the Bucs at number 6 because it's almost a guaranteed loss.
Anyway, closing thoughts, gentlemen. And of course,
if by chance you end up getting the clapper, you can need to go see a doctor.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Wow. All right. And then I'm going to follow that with this. I want to thank our wives and families for allowing us to be idiots on this. Idiots for an hour a week. It takes a lot more than that to go into this, so I do appreciate it. And after that, we will see you all next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Go Bucks.
Who cares? Who cares? Who cares?